Good evening, everyone. Welcome to those of you in person, to those live streaming, to our community in Catalina. Welcome to our board meeting this evening. We will start with a Pledge of Allegiance, so I will ask our new student board member to lead us in the pledge. Thank you, Elena. And now we will have our board secretary take roll to establish a quorum.
Member Otto. President Craighead.
Here.
Member Benitez.
Here.
Vice President Miller.
Here.
Student Board Member Castillo.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. The board has been meeting in closed session today regarding matters listed on today's agenda. The board took action on the following items. On item 3.1, on a motion made by Member Benitez and seconded by Vice President Miller, the board voted 4-0 with Member Lopez absent to approve the readmission of student ID numbers 2011475566, 2011804419, and 201146-328. And on item number 3.3, on a motion made by Member Benitez and seconded by Vice President Miller, the board voted 4-0 with Member Lopez absent to approve public employment. And I will turn it over to Dr. Ahn to provide some specifics.
Thank you, President Craighead. Tonight, I have the privilege of announcing 3 promotions. We have Carmen Hernandez, who will be principal at Kettering Elementary. We have Marcia Escalante, who is going to be the administrative assistant for school psychological services in the Office of School Support Services. And we have Javier de Santiago, who will be a program specialist in research and student outcomes. Our other lateral moves can be found on our website in just a few minutes.
Thank you, and congratulations to those individuals. Next, we have adoption of the agenda as posted, but before we entertain a motion on that, there is one modification, and that would be on the Purchasing and Contracts Report, page 87, to delete item number 39, the contract with Re-Security Incorporated. So we need a motion.
Move approval as modified.
Second.
Any discussion?
Can you remind me again which?
Yes, it is on page 87, and that's the Purchasing and Contracts Report number 39.
Got it.
Madam Chair, I do have
Yeah.
one question indirectly related to this agenda, and it's more to Mr. Real. So I noticed at our last board meeting, sorry, Jeff, I could have asked this before tonight, but it reminded me. I had checked our Board of Education website and noticed that after the September meeting, none of our meeting dates are posted. Can we make sure to have those be posted publicly?
Yes. Which website you were on?
The Board of
diligent-
Education website where it lists like the dates of upcoming meetings.
Okay.
I believe the last one that I saw up, and this could have changed in the last 2 weeks, was the September 2nd
Okay.
meeting. Just my request is if we could
Certainly.
post all the rest
Post
of the
them all
meetings
for the year, absolutely.
Thank you.
Any further discussion or questions? All in favor of adopting the agenda as modified?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? And our student board member with a preferential vote.
Aye. Sorry.
Thank you. So that passes 4-0 with a preferential vote. And next we have, well, we don't. On the agenda, it's introduction of student representative, but it's still summer, and we will have that once school begins at the end of this month. But next we have recognitions, acknowledgements, and reports. So I will direct your attention to the screen.
This internship entails working directly with the communications department staff to understand how they use their equipment and also how to use that equipment to create content for LBUSD.
Really gave me a chance to meet new people that I would have never met, and it's in a really setting where everyone's doing what they love and it's just genuine care and support.
This has helped me work in a group setting and get on with other people and also learn a bunch of professional equipment.
I feel like I've become a better listener and more receptive to other people's advice, working with people who have different experience and different perspectives.
This internship has definitely helped me grow in understanding cameras and videography more, and also about lighting and how to make lighting look really good on a shot, but for different shots, whether that's a short film or taking a photo.
It would look really good on a resume when it comes to after I graduated, if I would maybe want to work with the district.
I specifically chose this internship because I'm interested in going into work with communications and marketing. So I really wanted to understand the field a little bit better and build my skills up to help my resume.
Along with upgrading my skill set, it also helps me develop my people skills and the way I communicate with people, which is something very necessary in the real world.
It's always nice to see, excuse me, it's always nice to see our vision in action and opportunities for our students. And I don't know if we have acknowledgements, or no, we don't have acknowledgements tonight, sorry about that. And, but we do have a student board member, so this is her time for a report.
Good evening, everyone. Last Wednesday, I had the privilege of being a guest on our LBUSD podcast, so thank you to the media team for having me. I encourage everyone to check it out once it comes out. Also, I'm really happy to report that this Friday, our Superintendent Student Advisory Committee, or RSVP, will be meeting to have a design institute this Friday. We'll have 44 students are represented, and with 10 schools being represented. And yeah, I'm really excited to meet with everyone across the district just to work towards what we want, which is advocating for student voice. Thank you.
Thank you. Excuse me. Next, we have a public hearing, an update to the facilities master plan, and designated authorized district representatives. So this is the time when we will hear public comment on this item. So I declare this hearing open. Do we have anyone to speak on this item?
No, we do not.
So seeing that we have no one to speak on this item, I declare that the hearing is closed. I will read the resolution, though, or the agenda item. Resolution number 080526-A, superseding resolution number 120219-A, and establishing a resolution in support of applications for eligibility determination and funding, facilities master plan requirement, designated authorized district representatives, and authorized filing of applications for state allocation board administered programs. Please see item 15.11 for additional information and documents. So if you'd like to look into that, it's on this agenda, item 15.11. And next, we have public testimony on items listed on the agenda. Do we have anyone interested? We do.
Yes, we have 2 speakers on items listed on the agenda. And the first speaker is Holland Brown, followed by Ariel de la Cruz.
Good evening. Thank you for welcoming us here tonight. I'm Holland Brown with Ground Education. I'm here with Jill Mazook and Ariel Dela Cruz. We are 3 of the 33 folks that work for Ground Education. And we are here because our annual school garden contracts, 33 of them now, are all on the consent agenda tonight. And we just wanted to quickly express our gratitude that the district leadership and our tremendous partner schools continue to value and invest in on-campus nature spaces and the physical, academic, and emotional support opportunities they bring to every student on those campuses, as well as the adults who nurture them. We're starting our 10th year this year as an official nonprofit partner of LBUSD, and we are looking forward to making it the greenest and best year yet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Holland? Is this the next speaker coming?
Yes,
Okay.
so I'm
Okay.
done. And
Perfect. And after Ground Education speaks, can I just ask a question?
Sure. Oh, okay. Next speaker is Ariel Dela Cruz.
Hi everyone, good evening. My name is Ariel Dela Cruz, and I want to say thank you for the board for approving Ground Education contract for our 33 school gardens. I've been with the organization for now going on 6 years, and it's been a joy to see the organization grow professionally and within the Long Beach community. So I went to an elementary school in the Los Angeles Unified School District, and we didn't have any green space, and we definitely didn't have a garden. So to be able to provide these spaces and programs has been very gratifying when I think about the health of our future. As part of the organization that is partnered with LBUSD, Vision 2035 is our roadmap to our student success. Not only do our gardens support the student portrait of being an informed global steward communicator, and a resilient, mindful, and thinking self-advocate, but it can also support the adult portrait for our teachers and staff, of them becoming an empowering facilitator of learning and a community-minded collaborative leader. School gardens and green spaces are vital for the health of our communities and our ability to adapt with our environments. Thank you again for your support, and may we continue to push for nature-based solutions when challenges arise. Thank you again.
Thank you.
So given a little context and background, Holland, we haven't voted on the item yet, so I won't say anything about the 33 schools, right? But Holland, I remember Ground Education being at a few schools just a few years ago. Can you give us a sense of that vision, and Holland, and how you're seeing the work at now potentially 33 schools? With a big kudos to you and the entire team, and also the school community, right? Because it's not just you all, right? It's the staff, teachers, and community members. So can you talk a little bit about the vision, Holland?
Sure, I'm happy to. Ground Education, when we started it 10 years ago, it was born from several years of volunteering in a local public school, with an effort to bring children outside to have a really hands-on component to what they were learning in the classroom. And right from the beginning, it was a collaboration between those classroom teachers, those of us with the horticulture and child development background that were the volunteers, to work together as a community to come up with a program that was relevant and worthy of happening during the school day, and that was a true partnership between the school site itself and the community it served, and those of us that were trying to create the program. So that's been our impetus since the beginning, is to all work together to provide really healthy nature spaces, small but mighty in some cases, and make sure that every child equitably participates in the learning and the lessons and the time. So our vision is to keep expanding primarily in the elementary and K-8 schools, with the hopes that we will eventually be serving all of them. And it's a longitudinal arrangement. So we renew our contracts every year, add a few new schools, and continue to serve those as we bring the curriculum to every grade level in all of those spaces. So
Thank you.
we're marching on, and we're looking forward to year 10. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes our speakers for items on the agenda.
And for items not listed on the agenda?
We have 8 speakers for items not listed on the agenda. And the first is Kim Tashkin, followed by Elizabeth Jackson.
Good evening, board members. Parents across our community are noticing the growing negative impact of school-based technology on our children's learning and well-being. Schools Beyond Screens now has more than 160 chapters representing school districts around the country. The research has been conducted and is detailed in the book The Digital Delusion by neuroscientist Dr. Jared Horvath. He is not anti-tech but pro-learning. He writes in his book, EdTech isn't failing because of outdated software or poor teacher training. It's failing because it's fundamentally incompatible with how human beings actually learn. He also writes that students who use computers for at least 6 hours a day score 66 points lower than students who do not use them at all on the PISA, a global performance test. Numerous districts across the nation have now created screen time guidelines to protect students from the harmful effects of the overuse of EdTech. Some of these guidelines include eliminating all device use for TK through 2nd, eliminating one-to-one device use for 3rd to 8th grade with computer cart or lab models, blocking YouTube, as well as gaming, video streaming, and social media use on student devices, disabling student access to any generative AI tools on all school-issued devices until AI technology has been proven safe, legal, and effective. Also requiring explicit parental consent for each app that collects data per FTC guidelines. Beverly Hills Unified is currently implementing a screen time policy. It took them close to 3 months to create a resolution and pass a policy. LA Unified School District will be implementing their own screen time policy starting this fall. They're working hard on creating a temporary AI moratorium as well. What is Long Beach Unified School District waiting for? The research has been done and we should not have to wait further. Let's get on board and follow the research and create our own screen time policy to protect our students. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Elizabeth Jackson.
Hi. My name is Elizabeth Jackson, and I have 2 children, ages 6 and 4. One is currently enrolled in Long Beach Unified, and one will be soon. I'm here tonight representing Schools Beyond Screens, Long Beach. By now, you know who we are and what we stand for, so I'll keep it short. LA Unified passed a Using Technology with Intention resolution, and we are asking Long Beach Unified to do the same. We understand that screens can improve education, but too much screen time can be detrimental and reduces the amount and quality of interactions between children and teachers. It's also detrimental to social and emotional growth. Like I said before, I have 2 kids. Do we have a TV? Of course. It's 2026, we watch TV. But something I've never done once in my children's entire lives is hand them a phone or a tablet. We spent the summer completing the Long Beach Public Library summer reading program, playing outside and doing crafts. And do you know how I'm able to do this? Because I have something that many of our Long Beach Unified teachers aren't being given. I have support. The support of my husband and children's grandparents who are all on the same page. On the other hand, Long Beach Unified, instead of hiring more staff to help our teachers, is leaving them with large class sizes, no support, and a classroom full of Chromebooks. We live in a country fueled by capitalism. Education in schools should be one of the parts of our society where our kids are safe from huge, money-hungry corporations, but they're not. Why is so much money being handed over to the ed tech companies while our schools are understaffed? We ask that the board start paying attention to our concerns and know that our group is growing and not going anywhere. We'll see you at the next board meeting. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next, we have Sorry, next we have Melissa Roman, followed by Tia Hart.
Good evening, Superintendent Saeed, Board President Diana Craighead, Board Vice President Eric Miller, Board Member Juan Benitez, and Board Member Douglas Otto. I want to thank you and also Board Member Maria Isabel Lopez, who's not here, for the moves you have made in the last week to listen to and to begin to understand all of us Long Beach residents from across the city and from the west side. My husband, Rick Roman, is here with me today. We are proud parents of a student in the dual immersion program in Bixby Elementary in Board Member Otto's district. And in November of 2025, we moved from Board Member Otto's district to Board Member Diana Craighead's district. Tonight, I want to read you an email that I received yesterday and that was recently sent to 5th grade dual immersion families regarding enrollment for the incoming 6th grade class. This is what the email said. As we prepare for the start of the, and I should clarify that this email came from the Long Beach Unified School District. Thank you. As we prepare for the start of the 26-27 school year, we are pleased to share that enrollment for the incoming 6th grade dual immersion class at Stevens Middle School is currently open. If you are interested in enrolling your child in the Stevens Dual Immersion Middle program or would like to learn more, please complete the attached interest form. A representative from the secondary school's office will contact you to answer your questions and guide you through the enrollment process. Stevens Middle School, a California distinguished school, offers students the opportunity to continue developing their bilingualism by literacy while participating in the full experience of a comprehensive middle school. Please note that enrollment is based on current program availability. While we are accepting interest forms and enrolling eligible students at this time, the continuation of the program is subject to future district enrollment and program decisions. We appreciate the district communicating with families and opening enrollment. However, after reading this message, I believe there is an important question that deserves an answer. What is the purpose behind this email? Is the purpose to recruit students and increase enrollment because LBUSD wants to strengthen and sustain the dual immersion program at Stevens? Or is the purpose simply to let families know that enrollment is currently available while the district continues to determine the program's future? Because those are two very different messages. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Tia Hart, followed by Alejandra Martinez.
Thank you for listening to us and holding the meeting for us on July the 28th at Stevens Middle School. We would like to address the plan for keeping the program open. Although we are not content with the current conditions placed on the continuation of the program, we are willing to work through the process. During the July 28th meeting, we were presented with an option 3 in your presentation. It stated that with parent and community support, LBUSD can recruit 70+ students for Stevens DLI program for previous 5th grade DLI students who are now 6th grade students. During the meeting, we also requested that the details of the plan for this option be put into writing. We have yet to receive a written plan. Since our meeting on July the 28th, families who expressed interest in the DLI have received phone calls from district staffing to confirm that they would like to enroll their children in the DI program at Stevens, yet no official enrollment information. On August the 4th, an email was sent from the secondary schools office. We believe it was sent to the current 26-27 6th grade families with an interest form for DLI and no enrollment information. Was this email sent to all previous 5th grade, current 6th grade DLI families who were discouraged to select Stevens at as a DLI option during the school of choice process this year. We are thankful, but we are requesting in writing the district's commitment to maintaining the DLI program at Stevens. We are requesting the plan include reopening of enrollment for current DLI sixth graders, pathway for current non-DLI sixth graders to enroll in the program by testing in, re-enrollment to the DLI program for seventh graders who dropped the program because they were informed they would lose their spot in Stevens once Hoover Keller reopened, information on updates on the staff increases and accommodations, in-person enrollment at Stevens and Keller orientations, development of outreach materials for the current DLI program, public announcement from district sharing its commitment to Stevens DLI program and announcing the opportunity for future enrollment during the 2027 School of Choice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Alejandra Martinez, followed by Viola May Bledsoe.
Good evening. My name is Alejandra, and I'm a proud parent of a dual immersion program student. Tonight, I don't want to speak about conflict. I want to speak about partnership. Partnership means working together towards a common goal. As parents, we believe our goal is the same as yours, to provide every child with the best education possible. The dual immersion program has done exactly that. It has helped our children become bilingual, biliterate, academically successful, and culturally aware. These are skills that will benefit them for the rest of their lives. Throughout this process, families have shown up. We've attended meetings, made phone calls, written letters, spoken during public comment, and advocated for our children because we believe in this program. We did not do this to fight the district. We did it because we wanted to partner with you to protect something that is positively impacted our children. That is why communication matters. The district has told us that it wants to collaborate with families, and we are asking for that collaboration to become a reality. We want to work alongside LBUSD to increase enrollment, share information with families, and help make the Stevens program successful. We are ready to do our part, and we are asking the district to meet us there. When communication leaves families uncertain about the future, it becomes difficult to build the trust that true partnership requires. Parents need confidence when making decisions about their children's education. A strong partnership requires honesty, transparency, communication, and a shared commitment to students. We are not asking the district to simply keep the program at Stevens. We're asking you to stand beside us and actively collaborate with us to strengthen it. The dual immersion program is more than a class, it is a community. It is an investment in our children's future, and it is worth protecting it together. We are not asking to stand on opposite sides. We are asking to stand beside you as partners, united by our shared commitment to student success. As stated in today's board workshop, the purpose of the board is to carry the vision and the values of the community. It is an investment in our children's future, and it is worth protecting together. Thank you for your time, your service, and for listening to the families who care so deeply about this program.
Thank you.
Next, we have Viola May Bledsoe, followed by Gabriela Kalajian.
Good evening, board. My name is Viola May Bledsoe. I am a proud past retiree of Long Beach. I worked for the district for over 30 years. I have lived in Long Beach well over 66 years. I grew up on the west side of Long Beach. I went to Webster. I went to Stevens, and so did my brothers. The fact that you are now going to want to pull this dual emergency program away from the west side hurts me as a former West Sider, and also with somebody who has a great nephew in the dual emergency program, who had trouble sitting still, who had trouble reading until he got into this program, and has calmed down. His grades has come up, his reading skills has come up, and it has been a vast improvement. My father came to Long Beach when he was 17 in the late 40s, he told me two things when I asked him why he was no longer, this is in the late 80s, why he would not vote for a bond for the Board of Education to build a school on the west side. He told me two things. When he came to Long Beach in the late 40s, Cal Worthington had the ugliest dog spots in the world, and that the Long Beach Unified School District every 4 to 5 years was asking for a bond for a high school on the west side. When was that high school built? Cabrillo didn't exist when I went to high school, and when I graduated in 1975, I graduated from Jordan. My brothers graduated from Poly. We moved to the North Long Beach, and I finished at Jordan. When I was growing up, there were a lot of programs that were other schools that were never on the west side. Never at Muir, never at Webster, never, ever. And it's a shame that this school district still continues to look at some areas of Long Beach and give them the better programs over the west side. Last board meeting I was here, and I listened to the students that spoke to this board and was moved beyond compare that these students came and poured their hearts out along with the parents that are here. I have no children in the district, so I have no dog in the fight other than the fact that as somebody who went through school in Long Beach, I expect different. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Gabriela Kalajian, followed by Linda Palacios.
Good evening, board. You'll have to excuse me. I didn't know I'd be speaking, so I didn't prepare anything. I'm going to be speaking off the dome. I am here with my fellow members of Schools Beyond Screens, who are the ones who encouraged me to speak. Couldn't find any last-minute childcare, so this is my daughter, Lucine. She is my only daughter. Yes, I am a member of Schools Beyond Screens. My daughter is 7 months old. My husband and I care very much about her future education. My husband is the owner of a daycare. No screens in our daycare that he owns, of course. And this is a very important issue to us. You will believe me when I say I don't have any social media. I'm kind of old school. And Schools Beyond Screens, I found them because I was Googling schools in Long Beach where they don't give screens to elementary schoolers. Because my husband and I work very hard on my daughter's development. And we know, as well, my husband has a background in child psychology. He knows the detrimental effects that screens have on children's cognitive function, especially when introduced at a very young age. Dr. Benitez, I am in your district. My daughter will be going to Chavez Elementary School, so we are West Side parents. So this really does matter to us. That is the school we want our children to, our children, my daughter, to go to. We believe very strongly in public school education, and I believe that we can follow in the footsteps of LBUSD, we can follow in the footsteps of Beverly Hills, and remove screens from the hands of children under 8 years old. There's no science backing up any reason why they would need it. They'll pick it up the same way all of us did. Millennials, Gen X, the way that we learned how to type, how to use an iPhone, we learned later in life, but we can still do it. So I don't see any argument about them needing to learn at a younger age. But as I said, I don't have social media, and I found them because that's what I was Googling, and they happened to show up, and it was serendipitous. I am so glad that this movement is happening at a time where there's more knowledge about the effects that screens can have on our children's development. So thank you to Schools Beyond Screens, thank you to the board, thank you to everyone who is listening to us, and yeah, I thank everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our last speaker for items not on the agenda is Linda Palacios.
Hi Hi, good evening, board members. I didn't really prepare either. I wasn't expecting to speak, but I am a parent at Emerson Elementary. I am here to discuss the change in ELP providers at Emerson and across the elementary schools at LBUSD. At Emerson in particular, we are seeing the morning and afternoon care being split. One by AYA in the morning and then the kids club in the afternoon. Just personal story, the kids club, my daughter's been going there for 4 years. They have been a second family for her. I know a lot of parents really trust this program. So I just wanted to ask why there was a disruption in the providers, why the parents were not consulted. You know, again, we think about who takes care of our kids after, before school. And the fact that we were not consulted, I mean, if it was a monetary issue, we would have paid, or, you know, maybe there would have been a survey. You know, there is a disruption in terms of routine. They don't know these providers. Again, the staff, even though it's, you know, younger kids who are taking care of the kids, you know, college students, they've been there year over year. They know these kids, right? So the fact that we were just told over an email is just shows a lack of partnership between the district and parents, and just, you know, undermining the overall transparency and trust that we have. So I do consider, or I've asked you guys to reconsider the change in contracts and providing a little bit more transparency. How does this just change year over year? And just, you know, how can we be a part of the process? Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes our speakers.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, we have our superintendent advisory groups, and we'll start with business, budget, and policy development. Dr. Benitez?
No report from me today, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We will skip instruction and student learning supports. That's Member Lopez. She's not here this evening. And we'll move on to workforce development, Vice President Miller.
Thank you. So I have two things that I'll be reporting on today. First will be just a staff report. As we conclude the 2025-2026 school year, we had approximately 106 displaced TK through 12 teachers, but I am pleased to report that as of today, all of 106 teachers have been successfully placed into assignments for the upcoming school year. In addition, we have been able to rehire 175 temporary contract teachers back for the 26-27 school year, which equates to 65% of temporary contract teachers returning to the Long Beach Unified School District. Second, I'm giving you an update on our RISE grant. RISE stands for Residency for Inclusive Single Subject Educators. The Long Beach Unified School District Human Resources Services Department is proud to announce the expansion of its Teachers Residency Grant Consortium with an addition of the Residency for Inclusive Single Subject Teachers, RISE. Teacher Residency Implementation Grant, developed in strategic partnership with Cal State Long Beach, RISE builds an intentional pipeline of diverse, innovative educators of color reflecting LBUSD's student demographic by providing 5 single-subject credential candidates with financial support, professional development opportunities, and dedicated mentor teachers during the year-long residency. Through the CCTC-funded grant, RISE aims to remove systemic barriers for candidates and cultivate transformative leaders who advance justice, equity, inclusivity, and academic excellence across Long Beach schools and communities. 2 really cool opportunities. Well, 1 cool really opportunity, and then great work by the HRS team.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, we have the consent calendar. So we.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just a quick question on item 15.7, President Craighead. So this is the Future Ready Facilities grant. Could someone just give a little bit more background? I know it's wonderful to capture data on on electricity consumption at schools, just kind of what we are thinking with like how we're going to use that data, what it's going to help to inform, just a little bit more background if anyone can speak to it, Superintendent.
I can jump in and speak
Oh,
to
sorry,
that one,
Mr.
Dr.
Brown, I didn't
Benitez.
see you come up.
I was sneaky.
Yeah.
So we have quite a bit in the way of energy utility bill data, right? Like we know what we pay on a month-to-month basis with Southern California Edison and whatnot, but we don't have real-time data. So this is an opportunity to allow us to go and get that and really inform our decisions going forward. So what we've done strategically is select 4 schools across the district: Gant, Newcomb, Jordan, and Franklin. 1 elementary, 1 middle school, 1 K-8, 1 high school, all in different geographic areas. And strategically, we also selected like a school that's been modernized, a school that has not been modernized, a portable classroom, a new build, so we can really get the data we're looking for.
Any further discussion or questions? I would just like to highlight that in our retirees, we have a school safety officer, Jeff, who's been with us for 35 years. I know he's usually out in the parking lot when our meetings are over, so I'm going to miss hearing about all his travels. He loved to travel. Well, he probably still loves to travel. And then also Rob Floto is retiring after 41 years in the district. In this modern day and age, we have these cameras that are attached to the ceiling, and yes, you know where I'm going with that. We used to have actual people operating giant physical cameras right here in this room, and Rob Floto was one of those camera operators, and yeah, and Myrna, and so it's progress. What can I tell you? Things advance with technology and everything else, but after seeing his name in the report, it did take me back to a time when we had people in the room handling those cameras. Okay, so I will ask our board secretary. Oh, yeah.
I had one thing. I just wanted to make a quick apology on behalf of the entire board. We made a small boo-boo today in regards to commenting on a public comment. We should have waited until it was an item that was on the consent calendar, and we should have waited until discussion. And so obviously we want to be very judicious about that process. And so I'm glad that we got the opportunity to hear more about the ground education, but I know that can become a point of contention for future public comment speakers. And so know that it is usually our practice not to comment during that time period. And I understand the curiosity, and so.
Yeah, and my understanding is if it's an item on the agenda, we can ask clarifying questions or public comments, Mr. Reel?
When it comes up to the agenda item
Got
itself.
it.
Yeah,
Okay.
not during
Okay.
the public comment
Got it.
itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, that'll come under the heading of live and learn.
Yes, absolutely.
We usually don't do that. It's not a common practice for us to be questioning, people during public comment. So now we know, we save those questions and everything for the consent calendar.
Which, by the way, I'm very excited for ground education. My daughter, that is literally her favorite program over at Alvarado. And so, once again, kudos to you all.
My apologies, colleagues. I thought, I knew that was the case for comments not on the agenda. Thanks for the clarification.
Okay, so any further discussion or comments? In which case, I'll have our board secretary take a roll call vote.
Member Otto. President Craighead.
Aye.
Member Benitez.
Aye.
Vice President Miller.
Aye.
And Student Board Member Castillo.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0 with a preferential student vote.
Thank you.
My apologies to President Craighead for putting our committee members on the spot on that. I should have waited to discussion, so apologies for that.
Okay. Next on the agenda, we have no staff report. That's item number 16. Item number 17, under new business, we will go to acceptance of monitoring reports for board interim goals 1B and 2B. So I will hand it over to our superintendent, Mr. Zaid.
Thank you. We are going to stay under that umbrella of live and learn just a little bit longer. If that is okay. Before we begin tonight's monitoring report, I want to provide an important clarification. Since the report was issued, our team has conducted additional analysis and determined that the comparison data presented does not truly reflect a year-to-year comparison. This year, we strengthened the rigor of the assessment, which resulted in a lower reported outcome. Because the assessment methodology or cut point changed, the current results cannot be directly compared with the prior year's data as originally presented. We take seriously our responsibility to provide the board and public with clear and accurate information, and Mr. Moskovitz will share the additional analysis, clarify the limitations of the comparison, and ensure that future reporting accurately reflects both student performance and any changes in how that performance is measured. So again, just staying under that live and learn umbrella a little longer, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Moskovitz.
And Mr. Moskovitz, before you get started, so when you say cut point,
yes,
are you going to be?
I'm going to talk about that right now.
Okay.
He's going to explain it because I confused everyone a few months ago the first time I shared the word cut point. So I am passing over the baton.
I just want to make sure.
Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, live and learn.
I actually feel like
See that I did that on purpose tonight so that it could soften the live and learn for you all. You're welcome. You're welcome, team.
We've been on a live and learn journey, I think, through this SOFG work really for 3 years now. And actually, what I really appreciate about the SOFG framework, and we were with our coach Greg Klein, Megan Frankowitz earlier today. What I appreciate about it is it's actually doing exactly what it intends, and that is to get all the adults in our system to be even more hyper-focused on what is it that is working and what are some things that are not working as it relates to these very few goals. What I'm going to share tonight, a year ago, 3 years ago, we probably wouldn't even have done the secondary analysis that I'm going to share today because it would have just been more at the teacher-student level or the principal-teacher level in conversation. The fact that it's coming to the boardroom and in our senior team, it just allows for us to be more intentional. So anyhow, again, live and learn with this. I want to start out by sharing a little bit about what fluency actually means. You've heard us talk about fluency in the past when we were talking about the FIRSA assessment. Fluency is actually made up of 5 components. And so we talk about fluency. I think we all know that when you read fluently, you can read well. So there's actually 5 components to fluency. Accuracy, do you read the words correctly? Automaticity, can you read them with enough speed that you're not having to slow down and break down every word into these very short little syllables? Can you kind of read it smoothly? Appropriate pacing. If you're going very slow through a long passage, you're going to have a hard time at the end of that remembering what that passage is all about. So you want appropriate pacing. But it's also things like pausing at the commas and the periods and making sure you're not just reading too quickly either. Expression, especially if you're reading like narrative or fiction where there's exclamation points or there's quotes. You know, you're trying to read as if you're the character, as if you're the narrator. And the last one is meaning making. You want to not just read the words, but actually understand sort of what those words mean. So those 5 components make up fluency. Sometimes people will talk about 3 components. They call it APE, accuracy, pacing, and expression. And that's really the core of fluency. In Long Beach Unified, our fluency assessment really only measures the amount of words read per minute. Amount of words read per minute. So while fluency as a concept in building a student's language arts ability has these 5 components, our assessment really measures words per minute. So they get a passage, they have 1 minute, literally timed 1 minute. How many words correctly do they get in that 1 minute? This year, we actually did a deeper dive with our teachers into fluency. They spent more time in teaching fluency this year than we have in many years. Part of what our wondering was, and when we looked at those initial results, were as students were focusing on expression and appropriate pacing, they might have actually slowed down a little bit in their words per minute to try to focus on those other components. But then a deeper dive into our fluency assessment this year, and this is really the part that Mr. Zaid was speaking about. I want to direct you to the second column, if you will. So we use a nationally normed reference approach to determining how many words per minute should a student be able to read at each grade level for us to consider them approaching proficiency and fluency. You'll recall that we chose fluency, interim goal 1B, because we felt that it was a good proxy for our ultimate board goal 1 of students reading proficiently by 3rd grade. So when we looked at it, for many years now, we've used this nationally norm reference kind of approach. And you can see on that second column, the number of words that a student needed to read correctly in a minute was listed on right there. So for many years, it was 43 words per minute by the end of 1st grade. 2nd grade, it was 79 words, and 3rd grade, 97. And it goes up. 4th grade is like 120, and 5th grade is like 145. And those have been our standard for many years. Our research team, as we were doing analysis over the last several years, we realized that the way we were measuring, the level we were measuring proficiency in fluency may not have been as highly correlated to SBAC as we would have liked. So this last year, we actually increased the expectation of students, the rigor, as Mr. Zaid said, of how many words did we want students to read for us to consider them proficient, fluent readers. And you can see on the right, we increased that by 10 words per minute across the grade levels, 43 to 53, 79 to 89, 97 to 107. This is actually a good thing because we're trying to make sure that if we're using this interim measure along the way, we want to make sure that it truly is correlated to ultimately reading proficiently by 3rd grade, as board goal 1 says. And so the rationale for moving and increasing the number of words per minute required is for the good reason. Unfortunately, when we did the analysis in the report, we didn't take that into effect. And so what you see in the 2 reports is shown on the screen for folks looking at home. Figure 1 on the left is representative of board goal 1B, interim goal 1B, and figure 1 on the right is from interim goal 2B. And what you see there is you see a decline from last year to this year, 63 to 60 on 1B and 23 to 20 on 2B. But I'm going to go back for a moment. It was using current year 53, 89, 107, when in the prior years we were using that lower number, 43, 79, 97. So we made the right decision, I believe, in increasing the rigor, but we should have reflected that differently in this report. So I'm going to show you what it actually would have been if we had used the prior metric in determining the goal that we're looking at right now. So rather than dropping from 63 to 60 on 1B, it actually went from 63 to 66. So it went up by 3 points. And while it's not yet at the target, we are developing towards that target. So it went from insufficient progress, a decline, to actually an increase over some of the growth from the prior years, and not that far behind the target we had set, which was 69%. In 2B, similar, the drop had shown from 23 to 20, it actually went up to 28%. So this is the percent of, let me go back just so we're clear. This is the percent of students in grades 1, 2, and 3 who are proficient on the fluency assessment. And then 2B is the percent of students in grades 4 and 5 who are not meeting standards on SBAC in the prior year, who are meeting the fluency assessment in grades 4 and 5 the following year. And again, the report you received showed a decrease from 23 to 20 when it should have actually identified an increase from 23 to 28. Again, not yet on target, but significant increase from the prior year, in this case of 5%, which would have been in that developing towards target. We believe that the analysis that we're going to talk about, and I'll invite Dr. Myers-Miller to join in a moment here, the analysis that we put into the report still holds true because we're still not yet at the target we want, and so some of what we discussed still holds true. But I do apologize because I think seeing the decline, I think for a couple of you prompted questions in your questions to us that actually, again, helped us to go back into the data one more time and say, what is it that caused this decline? At one point, we were sort of grappling with, do we change the report and issue a new report to you all? And there were pros and cons to that. The drawback to that was that our public received this report, and to then just swap out to you all a different report may not have shown a lot of transparency that we wanted to show. So we thought it was best to keep the report as is, but to show you what the data should have actually been. Next year, just so you know, a year from now, we'll be looking at 1B and 2B again. We will, in that report, we will have corrected the 2026 data to show the actual, what it should have been, which is for 1B 66%, for 2B, 28%. That will be reflected on next year's report for 2026, and then whatever we score in 2027 will be reflected there as well. And we will continue to, for the purposes of this report, we'll continue to use the numbers on the left just to kind of finish out this cycle of these SOFG interim goals. But no, internally, we're looking at the increased rigor in the words per minute, and that's actually what we're holding our students to, because we want to see that correlation towards third grade SBAC.
Well,
So pause there and just see what question you have about
yeah, that answered my question, because I was wondering how we were going to compare these numbers going forward. But if we're going to have consistency and continue to compare from are those state standard numbers then, the ones on the left?
These are, so these actually come from a nationally norm referenced
Oh, so it's a national norm.
across the country, and it goes by percentiles. So basically, we want students to be reading above the 50th percentile, which is a relatively low bar, and we felt it needed to be higher than that, especially if we were going to make a stronger correlation to SBAC.
Okay.
So that's why we increased the numbers.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I just had a quick question in regards to, obviously this is a test based on fluency. Can you give me kind of an anecdotal example of how do you improve a student's fluency in contrast to some of the previous improvement strategies that we would have used in the past?
I'd be happy to do so, and I'd be happy to invite a colleague or two if they'd be interested in sharing. Would you be interested, Dr. Myers-Miller?
Sure, I'd be more than happy to engage in that conversation. I'm going to lean into my past role as OCIPD support.
2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah. About 3 weeks.
Okay.
3 weeks. So over the past year, we have engaged our elementary teachers in professional learning around fluency. And so there is a specific protocol that we use to support them in teaching fluency. So one of the pieces, if you go back a little bit, so we'll use this particular passage, Energy Island. A given student in a class will be given a particular passage, and within of Energy Island. In that passage for that week, there are specific routines and practices that they will be engaged in to support developing accuracy, pacing, fluency. Part of that is individual reading, echo reading, partner reading. The teacher will chunk the particular text and look at how the text is composed with commas and exclamation marks and so forth to support how a student should be reading to make meaning. Mr. Moskovitz uplifted that, reading is not just about being a robot and being able to say the words in a certain speed, but you read it to make meaning, and so the teacher goes through a specific protocol. So all of our teachers have been engaged in that particular process for supporting their students in fluency. And this is a new practice that we have been engaging our teachers in. Yes, fluency has been a part of the instruction, but it has not been a routinized and systematic expected practice for all of our teachers with the protocol.
One thing I would add, for anyone watching at home, any parents at home, the best way to help students read more fluently is to have students read more.
Got it.
Period.
Okay.
So every time a student has a book in front of them and they're reading out loud repeatedly, multiple books over time, they're just going to build their ability to read a little bit more quickly. They're going to recognize words that they have read previously. That automaticity, the word, like the sight words that we call them. These sight words will just become more routine, and over time, we don't even think about it. We just read, right? So the more students read, the more they'll be able to read fluently.
And that was going to be my next question. Let's just say I know a little second grader who's moving into the third grade, and she has 3 Dr. Seuss books that we just read over and over and over. And I ironically had her read to her grandmother just yesterday, and my wife was like, she's reading so fast because she knows the books by heart. And so I guess that's the part of the question I have in regards to those parents that want to know, how do we support our child in fluency? I guess in that same part, I was like, would you say that parent, I know that might be a little off kilter, but that parent is should be expanding the books, just out of curiosity?
Yes. The quick answer to your question is yes. Students need to read a breadth of different types of texts because there's a difference in the informational versus literary and how you comprehend those particular texts. So I would say yes to any parent listening out there. You need to expand the breadth of reading opportunities and types of texts that students are engaged in.
And so, as an undertone of that, thank you, but because the fluency test sounds like it was only based on speed, right? Obviously, we don't want to train our kids to take the test, but there's a part of this where it seems like almost having them read over the same materials often would improve their ability to read faster, correct?
Yes, it does have them read with more accuracy within the same text. But part of what we in OCIPD have been engaging in is moving the assessment and the way in which we look at that assessment for and adding comprehension to support not just the accuracy of the words per minute, but also the meaning making, because that's really what fluency is about, is to read a text so that you make meaning. Yeah.
And it's actually, again, this is an example of the live and learn. Learn to live, I'm not sure, I keep getting this. We have had this fluency assessment in our district for a very long time. And what we have measured is words per minute. Words accurately read per minute. As we're talking about fluency, we know there are other things that are part of fluency. A future iteration of this assessment might actually be, is there an assessment about fluency that actually captures more of this? Kind of as Dr. Myers-Miller was just saying, the meaning making. Maybe expression, you could almost have like a rubric score, like do they read it with appropriate expression? And maybe that becomes part of the scoring. But the assessment as we've had and as we have had and as we have currently, it is just words per minute. And so we're trying to make sure, we think it's a close approximation to our ultimate goal of having students reading by third grade, but we did believe that we needed to increase the rigor of the assessment.
Yeah, Mr. Moskowitz, just to go a little bit deeper on that. So given that the live and learn sort of brings up a broader question around whether this assessment actually has a strong enough correlation to the SBAC data, what was the thinking on perhaps instead of not going back and using the previous number, sort of rethinking, do we even have the right assessment right now that has a strong correlation to the SBAC goal that we're trying to get at, without minimizing or undoing all the work that's already been done in terms of practices, but with a better assessment that then perhaps captures the additional nuances, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, I can answer part of your question. Yeah. Our research and student outcomes team routinely does correlation studies, specifically between the things that we're talking about as it relates to our board goals. Again, this is another action of like, as a result of this, we're being even more intentional. They're just right now completing, for example, a correlation study between our quarter exams in ELA and math that you saw that we gave last year. It was part of our interim goals. We're doing correlation studies between those results and the SBAC that our students, we're just getting the scores in for. Because we want to make sure that we believe they're highly correlated. We want to make sure they are. Our fluency assessments are correlated. There is strong correlation. But we felt to get even a higher correlation. I'm going to go back to, and I'm going to say this not exactly accurate because I don't have the exact statistical language, but when I said that this nationally norm reference was at the 50th percentile, they looked at the next band up. So there's a kind of a plus or minus. What is that called? Where you're? Who are our statisticians here?
I'm missing Dr. C. Brown.
Standard deviation.
That's who I'm missing.
And the next level up in standard deviation essentially equated to about 10 words per minute. So we felt like within that band, 50 plus or minus standard deviation, let's go to the higher end of that, just so that we can be more confident about its correlation.
Yeah, yeah. And so, again, going deep, right, because if based on our conversation from the earlier meeting, like, at what point do we want to start seeing that hockey stick start going up? That even though there was growth, right, and I'll go back to the questions that I asked. If we did nothing in terms of changing practices or pivoting, we still, hypothetically would not expect to drop, right? We might expect a flat line or what have you. So it still leaves us back to the analysis of more consistency in practices, more consistency in monitoring, right? Wondering what thoughts are, because even though it's more promising, as you pointed out, Mr. Moskovitz, we're still not where we want to be in terms of growth. So was there any learning with regards to that?
Yeah, and I want to point out to this slide again. So actually the targets that we set, if you look at the targets that we set, the targets themselves sort of have that, a little bit of that hockey stick, right, growth. So the targets are going up higher, more quickly. We went from June 2024 to June 2025, we went up 1%. The target went up 4%. This year, the target went up 5%. We actually went up 3% now in the true. So we are accelerating our growth from the prior 2 years, but the target is accelerating as well. So we are starting to see a little bit of the hockey stick. I mean, I don't overuse that metaphor, but we are starting to see a little bit, and even more so on 2B. So 2B, the goal, I'm going to switch to it so my eyes aren't quite working that far away. 2B, if I can, I'm not going to be able to find, here we go. All right, here it is. We had gone up 3 points the prior year, and now we went up 5 points. But the target has gone up, continuing to go. So we've actually closed, you can see here, we've actually closed the gap between our actuals and the target, whether you want to call it the hockey stick or not. But so we do believe, as I shared last week when we were looking at FIRSA, as we looked at those FIRSA domains, as you remember from the last time we were together in kindergarten, for example, our students, we have up like 90% and above proficiency on most of the domains. There's an area that our students are not doing quite as well on. And fluency is actually part of that. You recall it was the word reading in kindergarten that was part of that. So we know that fluency is a critical component of overall student reading ability. And so we did spend, as Dr. Myers-Miller said, we spent additional, even more time than we have in recent years with our teachers this last year talking about fluency. We have plans this year to double down even more, especially in our schools that are furthest from where we expect them to be. And we can share a little bit more about some of our plans to be even more strategic and targeted with certain sites. But I will say, I do believe the updated data does show that increased trajectory up, but still not exactly where we would want them to be.
To the superintendent and the team, I do want to express appreciation for the thoughtfulness, giving the quick turnaround in when the report went public, and then today. I appreciate that you, even though it may not be comfortable to live and learn, that you showed the same monitoring report, because I do think it would have caused pause for us to get a different copy of a report that hadn't been out there prior to this explanation. So appreciation for the willingness to learn with us on that.
Yeah. I had one other question, more from a strategic standpoint. So as we look at this data, we're talking about, let's just look at the third grade class in particular. So technically, these are third graders who have received a heightened level of focus due to our board goals from kinder, first grade, second grade, third grade. And their current percentage is at 66%. Technically, well, once again, I'm in 1 through 3, right, the average, but correct. But my point is that technically they've all been under the same bubble of service centered around this goal. So technically, next year, wouldn't we only expect the same number because of the same inputs? Obviously, we want improvement. So I guess my question is somewhere centered around what more are we planning to do other than what we've done to get to 66%? That'll take us to 69 or 73.
A couple of things, and I do want Dr. Marzmello to share what we're planning for next year. That I think it's very intentional and very well planned. We have not been on a flat journey over the last 3 years. So while we started SOFG 3 years ago, our focus on skills within literacy and reading have accelerated.
So you mean flat journey in regards to inputs?
It's not like we've just done the same instruction, the same professional development, the same learning.
I would agree.
Our teachers have been on a pretty dramatic, and our schools on a pretty dramatic accelerated journey over adding on each year, greater expectations, greater supports, greater coaching. And so, yes, you could say that our third graders here, if you looked at third grade, for example, it's 62%, which is actually
much higher.
Yeah,
much higher. Who knows?
69% for third
Yeah,
grade.
yeah.
That is, yes, they were in first grade when we started some of this, and then in second grade, their teachers knew a little bit more, and then in third grade, their teachers knew a little bit more. The students that we're ultimately going to measure in June 2028 on SBAC, they just finished first grade.
Gotcha.
They had even more prepared kindergarten teachers, even more prepared first grade teachers. Next year, they'll have even more prepared second grade teachers with a system that's even more intentional about doing wraparound to that. So what you're saying is accurate. We have been on this journey multiple. Part of the hockey stick analogy is that the system keeps getting stronger.
It's the heightened level of wisdom and skill set.
Right.
Got it.
And then the cohorts of students coming behind continue to get better service, if you will, because we know more and we're doing better for them. Do you want to share a little bit about some of our plans, Dr. Burns-Miller, for next year?
Yes. I would like to, I know as we continue to look at how our students are performing, there is a consistent question around, I hear that, but what else are we doing specific and targeted? And I really would like to uplift the work of OCIPD and what they have really tried to engage in. As you know, over the past several years, we have had some targeted professional learning that has been to all teachers within grade levels and departments. And that particular professional learning was really about ensuring everyone had the same quality instructional practice understandings. Through our being out in schools and doing some analysis and some work and really looking at some of our schools and implementation and our students who have not yet shown progress. We really worked with the level office, elementary and also secondary office to really think differently about how we were going to support schools. So in the past, the support has been in a general perspective to all schools with the same support process for OCIPD. In working with the levels, we have moved into a multi-tier support system of moving forward in 26-27. So we will be targeting schools for intensive and targeted support for those schools who need additional support and services in ensuring that the students who are furthest behind are receiving the best coaching, the best kind of wraparound services and targeted data monitoring that will uplift and yield greater results. So moving forward in 26-27, both the elementary and secondary in ELA and also in mathematics, there are targeted and intensive schools who are going to be receiving very specific support in our core initiatives.
Are there any other questions before I jump in and share a little bit more?
It seems like a good time for that.
Doug, did you have a question? Okay. I just wanted to share just a little bit more. One, I appreciate the student outcomes focused governance because it gives us an opportunity to be transparent around our data, around our progress, and around our performance. It also gives us an opportunity to dig deep, and I appreciate the hard work of OCIPD and those who are working in our curriculum because it has really been about continuous improvement. It has been adding word reading to kindergarten. It has been looking at our fluency cut points and looking at our numbers from a critical lens. And it has also been listening to our teachers and saying where we need to add fluency plus to make sure that we are building on some comprehension. All of that is in the spirit of continuous improvement. And I just want to take a moment to just share some gratitude for all of our teachers as well, who are working extremely hard and making sense, asking for clarity, understanding the coherence, and then moving things into consistent practice. Not just our teachers, but also our literacy coaches who are out there, our IICs who are out there, our principals who are walking a classroom. To be honest, everyone is under the umbrella of living and learning at the exact same time. And I just want to take a moment to acknowledge them. The second thing that I want to share really briefly, especially as we prepare for our next report, is this is an opportunity for us, I think, to do two things. Growing up in our system many, many years ago, I'm going to date myself and go back almost 10, 15 years ago, there was a popular saying about looking in the mirror and looking out the window and listening to when we are making mirror statements and when we are making window statements. A mirror statement is anytime you are looking at yourself and saying, how can I improve? How can I be reflective in my practice? And how can I make sure that we are doing everything we can to be the best version of ourselves? And I just want to go on record as saying the students and families in Long Beach deserve for us to be in the mirror asking, how can we be the best version of ourselves? But I also want to recognize when it is appropriate to look out the window and to ask, how are we in Long Beach comparing to other districts that are our exact same size? I'm saying that because we are looking at interim reports that are in service to our board goal around third grade. But there's going to be a time where we're going to look at our SBAC data in third grade, and we're going to say we hope to see more improvement, but we didn't quite see what we wanted to see. And in that moment, I just want to set the stage for we will be in the mirror asking ourselves, how can we continue to take the steps? Although I believe that we are absolutely up to the right strategies. And then it's an opportunity for us to look out the window for a moment and to look at some of our targets and to say, how is Long Beach doing in comparison to those around? So I look forward to doing both of those. And I just want to say, as an employee, as superintendent, and also a father, I absolutely love to get in the mirror. I encourage my daughters to get in the mirror, and we are all trying to be the best versions of ourselves, and that's what we're doing as a district. But sometimes it's appropriate to look out the window and to say, how are our third graders doing in comparison to all the third graders around us, just so that we can level set and look at the high aspirational targets that we're going to continue to aim for. But also, let's look at just both of those at the same time. And I just wanted to share that because while we were able to be transparent in August, we're going to be transparent in September. And I'm hoping that it's an opportunity for us to do both. But this is definitely an opportunity to share that our data looks better than we first presented. And we're happy to share this good news. And while we're not quite hitting where we anticipated, we're definitely developing, and that's due to the hard work of our team.
And I can tell that that's not just a fancy metaphor, because if we have staff that's looking in the mirror saying, okay, we've presented this monitoring report, we've been receiving questions from board members, wow, what is happening? And you take a deeper dive into that, and you took a second look. You not only prepared the report, but then you went back to try and have a better understanding of it. So that's very much demonstrating that that concept of looking in the mirror, and then also for the decision to bring it back in public like this. I think really demonstrates transparency, and it kind of throws us off because the board came in, right? The board came in, we had our questions, and we want to know, why aren't we making more progress? Oh, we're going the wrong direction, and then to find out, wait a minute, the news is better, and here's why. And we are moving towards the target. We are getting closer. It's good. It's good work for us too. Dr. Benitez?
Thank you for that last piece, David and Diana. I think the conversation that we had this afternoon around SOFG, I think in two different ways. The coach actually asked you directly, Mr. Zaid, how does the budget align to these board goals, and how far in advance are we thinking about the budget in alignment to the board goals? So if nothing else, the data continues to show that the biggest impact on student success is in our classrooms. All right, if nothing else, it's in our classrooms. So although, as again was referenced this afternoon, everything has a relation to student success, bottom line is if we do what we hope and expect to do in the classroom, we're gonna see that growth. And I think it's a good reminder for us, if one of our roles is the budget, right, and policy alignment, to get as much information from you all around initiatives and correlation of those initiatives to these board goals, so that as we're making collectively tough budget decisions, that we continue to remind ourselves and our community, but our budget, as tough as those decisions may be, continues to be anchored in ultimately the success that we're looking for, and that ultimately is anchored in the classroom.
Mr. Otto, I know you had a question from before.
Yeah, I wanted to make a point. I'm not even positive that it's relevant anymore. I've heard a lot in the last two presentations, but I always sit up here trying to think about what are the parents and the people that are watching us on video thinking about what it is that we're talking about and what it is that we're trying to show. And generally speaking, I think, okay, that makes sense, and they can get that, but not in this area. This area is so complicated, and there's so many variables in it that when we make these reports and people are going, oh, okay, that's good, but oh yeah, some people in kindergarten, first and second grade are going to be different every year, and because somebody just transferred in, somebody has they're different people. It's impossible to make real, meaningful comparisons. And then we had these other layers of things about, well, what is fluency? And we're meeting 9 of the 11 categories that are important here, and we're only missing 2, but it takes us way down because of the way we count things. And I'm thinking, what are people thinking out there in the audience, and how crazy this is? I mean, at first I think, well, you have to have taken education courses. Then I think, no, you have to have a degree in education, in K through 12 education. Maybe you need a master's degree, and now I think you got to know everything just in order to understand what it is that's going on. And we're talking today about how to improve fluency. And I don't even know what fluency is anymore, but I know we have to improve it. And if you're a parent or you're somebody out there in the audience, you're going, I don't pick up on all this. But, and so what my conclusion after the last meeting was, okay, we're trying to do too much, and the way we're communicating it isn't going to get through to the people that we want to get it through to. But today is very helpful. I mean, more helpful than what happened before, because I think people are seeing that we're building on this, and we're trying to increasingly show people what it is that we're doing, and then we came back and said, oh, we did it kind of wrong, and we want to tell you about that because that will help you there. And you have to be a real developer or a reader or listening to what goes on here to be to get all this. But we're doing a good job. We got to continue to do a good job. I remember going home after the last meeting, and my wife said, "How did it go?" And I said, "I have no idea." It was just we talked about all these things, and I'm going to go back and watch it again. In fact, I felt that way about the facilities thing today. I went through all these things, and I said, well, wait a minute, there's nothing about this picture, and that seems important. I said to him to David afterwards, I'd like to sit down with you because I went through all that and I understood it completely, and I don't think I understood it at all. I mean, the things that are really going on here and motivating this, it takes so much time, but we're doing a good job at it. And well, and maybe that's enough. I mean, I think that it's hard, and I think we have to do this work, and we can't always do it in front of people. And they sometimes think, and I think I said to you, David, after the last meeting, you've got to know who your audience is, and your audience here is one audience, but there's an audience out there that we want people to understand as well.
Vice President Miller.
Yes, and just very briefly, for the sake of the goal here, to confirm, those students of June 2028, they are the first graders. They just finished first grade. All right, and how well did they do? That's a good question.
You're talking about on fluency? Let me go back. I'm going to turn around because I can't read that far. They were actually at 67%.
67%.
Up from what was, it said 62. I don't know what it was last.
All right.
I'd have to look at that.
Yeah.
But it was probably around 60 last year, and now they're at 67.
Great.
67
All right.
of the previous target, not of the...
Correct.
Yes. Correct.
Last year, I think they were at 60%.
Yep.
In first grade last year's first graders meant different kids, right? So now
Right.
those students are in second grade. So
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
other thing that's hard to do when you compare groups of students.
Right, right. I just want to make sure we got our eye on these kids.
Move to accept revised monitoring reports for interim goals 1B
and
2.
2B.
2B.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? And our student board member?
Aye.
That passes 4-0 with a preferential vote from our student board member. And next, we will move to item 17.2, Student Outcome Focused Governance Implementation Timeline. And so, Vice President Miller, you had a community check-in you'd like to talk about?
I did. First off, I just wanted to thank the District 2 community for giving me a little bit of grace regarding the cancellation of the first date. But with all things considered, we had our event on June 30th. I had almost 50 people in attendance. I thought that it went really, really well. With all things said, it was a combination of community-based organizations, district staff, and folks who are residents in District 2. Obviously, we used the framework that we've been working on for the past year. One of the things that I thought was a hit in particular was the representation of those community-based organizations. They played a vital part in the conversation, as they are very much interested in being an integral part to helping us achieve our goals. With that said, I want to thank, first off, our district staff that were there. I mean, everyone was just so helpful, from the interpretation staff to Dr. Twall to Dr. Prelo. I mean, there's so many folks from the district who were there that were in support. Thank you, David. It was, like I said, a very big success. But I also wanted to make sure that I celebrated our community-based organization as well. A number of nonprofits were present. So I wanted to thank the African American Cultural Center. I want to thank the Math Collaborative. I want to thank Love Beyond Limits. I want to thank VIP Records. They were a large donor in regards to using a small incentivization program and giving out free backpacks and school supplies. So They were fantastic. I was very, very pleased at the event on the 30th when we do a 360 review. I would definitely highlight and make sure that for future community check-ins, that making our community-based organizations a large part of the operations, as we've seen in 2 instances. I know, Juan, you also worked pretty closely with a number of community-based organizations, correct?
I didn't,
I
but
thought you had
certainly
Long Beach
the
Forward.
word was spread
Okay.
through them, but they didn't have any formal
Okay.
role at the.
Okay. Okay.
So they weren't. They were there in attendance, but they weren't there as.
Like
organizations.
formally. Oh, okay. I thought that Long Beach Forward was okay. No,
So
that's
there were many, including parent group from Franklin, that helped to spread the word.
Okay.
And emerging community leaders and parents that are involved in other areas, and including Days and Long Beach Forward and a few other orgs.
Okay.
But they weren't part of co-sponsoring the event.
Oh,
or in a
okay.
formal capacity.
Okay.
But not to discount the important role
Yes,
that they
yes,
played.
their role.
They played an extremely important role.
Right. As we still are reflecting on the event, I would also say that though the event was a success from my view, I think that it's harder for us to host these events if it's not during the school year, because it's just a little trickier to get the word out. So that is, I think, something that we should consider also when we talk about the next calendar of community check-ins. But once again, I knew that having my awesome community partners involved was going to make a big influence on the event, and I thought that it went really, really well. We got a lot of great input that we'll obviously be reviewing when we do our 360 review. And once again, I want to thank Doug and everyone who was in support and present, as once again, I thought it was an informative event to the community, as I received a lot of positive feedback. So.
That sounds good. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to add under student outcome focused governance?
Just a question on whether we have confirmation for the 5th of our community check-ins on board goals and guardrails. We had August as terms of the timeline. Has there been any confirmation on that? Okay.
Yeah, so there's nothing to report on that part of it. Okay, so
But as we talk about the time, I guess we can't make a decision until we know when her date is. But I think the other part that is going to be important for us as a board is figuring out when we can schedule our opportunity to do a 360 review of the community check-ins as a whole. And so we need to get that date on the calendar sooner rather than later. I think that needs to be a point of conversation at the September meeting, regardless if we do or do not have her community check-in scheduled, because of some of my comments earlier in regards to making sure that we utilize the school year as the opportunity to execute the community check-ins. So that's just my suggestion going into the September meeting.
So 2 recommendations, if I'm hearing you correctly, Mr. Miller. One is that we schedule this as an agenda item after the September meeting. But what I also want to sort of reference is the earlier conversation we had today on the overall timeline. And if there's a desire to bring back the coaches, do any additional community meetings, trainings, and for us to then make some decisions on the proposed timelines. We all shared some questions and concerns and reservations about process and timing of new process for new board goals. So I think we need to also place that as an agenda item, if not in September, at the latest I would say October, because then the fall's taken up as well.
I don't know if and I agree with you 100%. I don't know, and this is more of a Wayne question. Do we need to make that an agenda item, or is literally the timeline?
Oh, Jeff.
I'm sorry, Jeff. Jeff, do we need to make it an agenda item, or is the time?
I think it would be under your standing SOFG and timeline would
Okay.
be the appropriate place to bring
Okay.
that in particular, the 360 review.
Right, and just making sure that we spend a significant amount of time talking about those topics in particular.
And I was speaking specifically to that if we want for Council of Great City Schools to have a formal role in those agendas, that we need to figure out what role and what we want accomplished for that meeting.
So we did have on our agenda 17.2, which was the student outcomes focused governance implementation timeline. And I think we said that it really hadn't changed from the last time that we did this. And we ought to note that at this meeting since it was on the agenda. That means that for the vision and goals, we got 25 points. For the values and guardrails, we had 10, which was the same as before. But then for
That's for the quarterly assessment, though, Doug. Here we're just talking about the timeline on activities for the next round.
the agenda items of detailed agenda items, student outcome focused governance implementation. So we're
Yeah, but what you were referencing right now, that's what we did at the last meeting with the
Right.
quarterly assessment.
right. All right. Okay.
Yeah, I believe what what we're trying to figure out is something that was said at the SOFG afternoon training about how we go forward with the timing of things, whether or not we want to start a new process of goal setting or that type of thing. So it's kind of separate from the self-evaluation tool or manual, whatever we want to call it. Okay, so what I'm hearing is for sometime this fall, September or October at the latest, that we have an agenda item to discuss that timeline, to discuss how we go forward as far as the next goal-setting process goes. So, so that would be a separate agenda item. And then, as you put it, Vice President Miller, a 360 on the community check-ins. That will depend on what happens with our fifth and final community check-in. I will take it upon myself to work on that, getting that information. So that will be my responsibility. And it won't be until after we have that information that we can move forward. But that can go under the agenda item for student outcome focus, a standing item for, yes, SOFG, and we wouldn't need a separate agenda item. But we would know when we receive the packet that that's the discussion we would be having. Okay, so I think that's, I think we're in good shape. Good shape? Great. Then it is time for board reports, and Vice President Miller will go ahead and start with you.
I already talked about my community check-in, so I won't go into that anymore. But once again, thank you to all the community members who were able to be in attendance. And once again, thank you to the staff and community-based organizations. I have a small statement that I wanted to share in regards to an important meeting that I had last week as well on July 28th with the DI parents of Stevens Middle School. So first off, thank you, Stevens community, our family, staff, and everyone who has shared their perspectives regarding the dual immersion program at our July 28th community meeting. Your voices matter, and your engagement reflects the community's deep commitment to its students. For clarity, I want the community to understand the decision that was made last December when the board approved a plan to close a school campus. The future of the dual immersion program at Stevens was not decided as part of that action. That is for our new superintendent to determine. I want to thank you again for sharing your perspectives. I look forward to working with Superintendent Zaid and his team as they continue moving the values into action in service for every student.
Thank you. Dr. Benitez?
Yes, Madam Chair, just to follow along those lines, appreciate Superintendent Zaid keeping us informed and updated. Glad to hear that there was a meeting with the Stevens community and that from all accounts, it was a productive meeting. Some of it, the local press covered. We got briefed by our team here, and we obviously heard from some community members today. So looking forward to hearing about the ongoing partnership and collaboration with parents and how our district can best support the students at Stevens. So thanks to the parents again and the community members from Stevens for coming out. I am really excited, and I got a chance to check in with student school board member Castillo about the start of a new year, just a few weeks away. So just want to share a few thoughts on the beginning of another school year. Thank you for all of our teams at the school site and here at the district that are never stop, right? We're just getting ready again for a new year, including all of our classified employees that have been busy on projects this summer as well. I do want to share, and we try a version of this every year when we start school from my colleagues here and from the superintendent, just to parents and caregivers and students, that first week and couple weeks of school, it's busy. Let's show each other grace. Let's look out for each other, welcome each other. It's a tough tough time of the year for brand new students and brand new parents to our district. But you know, if someone's going from elementary school to middle school or middle school to high school, it's also a time that has some nervousness and some anxiety and some fear. So encouraging all the staff and school communities to smile, welcome each other, celebrate that we're starting a new year, and that if there is a little traffic congestion or some crossing guards that aren't 100% effective yet, to please extend each other grace and empathy and exemplify what we want to do, and it's change adult behavior so that our student outcomes can also improve. So I'm excited. I got a high schooler starting remember that baby that was here with me when I first started? So they're starting high school, and I know that my fellow parents and caregivers and families are just as excited to start this new year. So just big kudos to everyone, including our community partners that have an instrumental role in making sure that students start off safe and sound and healthy and excited and have an edifying year this year.
Thank you, Mr. Otto.
Yeah, so I probably a thank you to Mr. Miller, because when my wife says, "Where were you tonight?" I said, "Well, I was with Eric Miller." The first one was his event at Browning, and it was a good event, a very good event. It was the fourth of 5 check-ins, and I think that there was a lot of good energy, and it felt real good, and congratulations on getting that. I'm still at those events trying to relate it to goals and guardrails and what people think about it, because there wasn't a lot about that, and in these meetings there isn't a lot of that discussion, but that's in the future as well. So then 2 nights later, I was at Stevens, where we had the DI meeting, which was a very big meeting. And I remember when I got home about 8:30, my wife said, "Where were you?" And I said, "I was with Mr. Miller at Stevens," and there was a DI meeting. And I was so impressed with the meeting. I was talking to our superintendent about it both before and afterwards, and there were 2 groups there. There was a group there that wanted to talk about DI, dual immersion, and there was a whole bunch of people that didn't want to talk about it, but wanted it to be a forum to talk about anything but that. And yet, I'm so impressed with the way that it all got worked out through our superintendent's thinking and his working with other members of the staff to present an option to the parents that were there and the people that were truly interested in dual immersion, and the program at Stevens, and there's a solution going forward, and it's all up to the parents working with the district to keep that program going for the future. And it was a good sign about how thoughtful thinking and trust makes such a difference. I remember during the pandemic when I was relatively new on the board, in fact, very new on the board, and people would come down to talk to us from the community. And I was so impressed at how much they trusted us. And it's a hallmark of this district that the parents are not here like we get one or two people at each session to say, you're not doing this, or what about this, or this is my issue, or whatever. But most people are there because they trust us and they want to see what we're doing and to listen to us. And that's very impressive. I think that's very unusual in K through 12 school districts. I note that one of the candidates for state superintendent of public instruction has dropped out of her school board race because she says she has to devote so much time to her statewide race that she doesn't have time to do the work of her district. And when I saw that and I saw her make that announcement, I thought, what's the work that you're doing? I mean, it's all in the district. It's all in what you can do to educate the students in your district. So those were the main events that I engaged in last week. And then preparing for this meeting by going back over the last meeting's discussions as to what went on. And I think this is a good meeting, although my wife said, are you going to be with Eric Miller tonight? And I said, yeah, but I think we're going to be done by 7. And we didn't quite make it. That's all.
Thank you. Well, I will start by recapping a little bit of what happened this afternoon because we had a presentation on facilities. And I just have to mention the good news coming out of that presentation, which is all school sites either have completed construction projects around HVAC or they're currently under construction. So all school sites, HVAC, they either have it or it's being installed right now, which is incredible. So over the last 10 years, that means 51 school sites. 51 school sites. So thank you to the voters. Thank you for everybody else who's making that possible. A lot of work happening. I want to report on the 4th annual Sankofa Summer Academy Research Day that was held at the Center of Black Student Excellence. I want to thank our parent community facilitator and summer program teacher, Miss Miranda Alford. She allowed me to be in her classroom that day, and I have a couple of new best friends, Kari and Malia. I enjoyed my time with them. The teacher led an activity around the origin of their names. And so this is, picture a small group of students and their parents, and then everyone had an opportunity to go to the front of the class and talk about the origin of their name. And their parents had a chance to talk. These are little kids, they're 5 and 6 years old. And just the joy of being able to share where their name comes from, and maybe they didn't get it right and the parents are helping, whatever it was, great fun. And then there was an activity where the teacher provided beads to make little name bracelets. And so it was all about, celebrating each one of those children. It was a beautiful celebration. There was music and dancing, and ground education was there. They had lemonade. Ooh, it was the first time I tried lemonade with mint. I recommend it. It's very good. And then, I'd mentioned some kind of food, of course. And then school starts for most of our students August 25th, and wonderful comments about how we should be starting the school year out, being kind to each other, having grace for things that don't maybe not go exactly smoothly, but I'm going to add another layer of information being put out there, and that's be careful, because we're going to have kids being dropped off, and there's going to be extra traffic, and sometimes parents drop their kids off across the street from the entrance of a school, which is very dangerous because everybody's rushing to get their kids there. So please be careful. Please allow yourself extra time to drop your students off. Maybe take advantage of valet parking if it's available, or something like that. But let's keep everybody safe and happy and healthy, and I'm going to turn it over to our superintendent.
Thank you. And I want to thank both groups of parents and families who were here tonight for the invitation to continue to partner, and we look forward as a district to continuing to partner. As we prepare to begin the new school year, I want to express continued appreciation and gratitude to the many team members working behind the scenes to ensure schools are ready to welcome students and staff. Our facilities team, which we had an opportunity to hear from tonight, is actively managing more than a dozen bond projects in planning, design, construction, and as we heard tonight, representing an investment of more than $1 billion in our schools. And that is something to share some appreciation and some thanks about. I also want to share that across our district, the operations team is deep cleaning more than 8 million square feet of interior building space. Also, just a point to share. And our maintenance team is completing major infrastructure repairs and preventative maintenance to prepare our campuses for a strong start. Again, just taking a moment to highlight some of the work that happens during the summer, just to make sure that our students are walking into facilities and spaces that represent excellence. Also want to recognize the 498 staff members who work throughout the summer to support our students. This is through a high school credit recovery, expanded learning opportunities, extended school year services, which service our special education students. Our teams continued providing meaningful learning opportunities across the district. And then a special point of gratitude goes to the staff who in ELOP supported attendance recovery. This summer, 5,145 students participated, providing them with an opportunity to recover about 4 days of attendance each. This goes a long way in restoring important revenue to our schools and our students, and we are excited about those continued calculations in terms of what that will be. We are now just a few days away from welcoming back our principals and our certificated and classified staff, and we are thrilled about the opportunity to really begin an amazing school year. And then just want to remind our families that the district's Back to School webpage went live on July 31st. It includes our Back to School guide and other helpful information that families will need to prepare for the first day of school. And we just want to continue to highlight that and point our families in that direction. And then I just want to take a moment to congratulate our student board member Castillo one more time. This is her second board meeting. It is also my second board meeting. And I have the first 30 days under the belt and looking forward to just an amazing year. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes the business of our meeting this evening. And our next regularly scheduled meeting is Wednesday, September 2nd. Thank you for being with us this evening. The meeting is adjourned.